Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at another Repair Factory devblog, and this is for the ship. This will probably be the middle prize. Usually we get a higher aviation and also a higher ground prize, so this will be probably the one which is worth 2. This is a name that I can't pronounce, so I apologize straight away. This is the Shcherbakov. I'm just going to call it the Shcherbakov because it's probably easier. It's a light cruiser. It's going to be a rank 5, but it's only going to be an event vehicle. So you'll have to grind it out, and also you won't get the premium bonuses, which kind of sucks. But overall, it looks very similar to other machines such as the Chapayev, so we'll have to see how it does. We'll get into the history of it, but as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get into it. The Project 68 BIS light cruisers became a deep modernization of the previous Project 68 class, combining technical solutions and experience of the Second World War. The order for the development of a new project was issued by the VMF, or the USSR Navy, in 1947. To save time, the engineers immediately proceeded to the technical design, skipping the draft stage. The new ship, with a fully welded hull, had an increased range, enhanced anti-aircraft and torpedo armament, armor protection for all firing posts, and the latest radar equipment. Project 68 BIS ships became the largest cruisers in the Soviet fleet. One of the further developments of this class was further improvement of the air defenses by replacing part of the 37mm guns with quadruple 45mm ZIF 68 autocannons. One of the laid-down hulls, the Shcherbakov light cruiser, was to be completed under the new program. However, the big gun cruiser concept became obsolete, and the ship was never completed. So this machine was never finished, but it is very similar to other machines that we have in the game. The major difference being, of course, the AA battery, and probably, of course, the survivability of this thing. The vehicle has access to some pretty nice fast-firing main guns, which makes it in one of the best light cruisers in the game. I would still take the American light cruisers over it, but at the end of the day, these 152mm are pretty nice. It has 4 sets of triple mounted 152mm, 2 on the front of the ship and 2 on the back, which are always fun. And then it also is supported by a bunch of secondary AA armaments, meaning that if it's a second spawn, it's going to be very good against aircraft coming in. It has a bunch of 37mm automatic guns and also has these quadruple 45mm guns. These ones will do a ton of damage against a lot of ships, I'm sure, which should be quite nice. And overall, the 152s will be able to put out a ton of damage too. There'll probably be no difference between these 152s and other Soviet light cruisers that we have in the game. They have access to semi-AP rounds and also bottom-fused HE for the auxiliary guns, so therefore you'll be able to knock out a lot of different machines. Just looking at the hull itself, it looks like it has a ton of 45s on it. It has at least 3 turrets of them on the side of them. They actually look really odd. They look like they're kind of just stuck out there, and maybe in the way of certain things. I wonder what their actual turn rate is going to be. But this does mean that's against smaller ships, which may try and torpedo this thing, or against other machines such as aircraft, they won't really stand too much of a chance. I don't think this thing has as much firepower as something like the Brooklyn, for example, but it will still be able to put out a lot against many aircraft that are coming in. And also at the same time, the machine itself just looks beautiful. It's a really nice setup on it. We'll have to see how its torpedoes do, and for a light cruiser, it will probably have some quite nice survivability. One of the problems with a ship like this, though, is it has very defined ammo placement, so in the front and the back of it, so even if you do pop one, they will survive and you will be able to fight on, but at the same time, you'll lose a lot of your usability, which is a bit of a problem. Usually, if you have machines which have turrets in the center of them, the ammo is a little bit more spread out, so it's a bit more survivable, but also, I suppose you have a larger ammo rack overall, so maybe not, depending on what's shooting at you. This will do well against machines that are lower than it, and against machines that are higher, we'll have to see how those 152s match up against stronger armor. As a middling prize, this is pretty bog standard. We've had a lot of other vehicles which are like this, and I'm sure many people will enjoy this one. For me, I've always preferred machines, at least for Navy, which are more rank 3 focused or rank 4 focused, so they can be premiums to help people grind through the tech trees. But as the events have been the last little bit, this is more of the standard, which unfortunately saddens me. I would much prefer the premiums to be more standard, just to give people a little bit of bonus, and also so you don't have to spade the things, which is a bit of a problem. As an extra vehicle, though, it is part of a new lineup, or it is part of a lineup. We'll have to see if the secondary armaments will give it a different BR compared to the other ships around that era. My guess is no, because it won't be that influential in the main task, which is of course dominating the naval battlefield, but we'll have to see going forward. As a person who's been getting into more rank 4 and 5 machines over the last little bit of naval, I'm interested to see how this thing does against its compatriots. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Kupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R., and Lafouche for supporting the channel.